What if I told you that one of the most feared dictators in history was terrified of another one? Not rivalry, not hatred, fear. Hitler, the man who brought half of Europe to its knees, spent 3 agonizing hours waiting for a telegram from Moscow, pacing, barely able to breathe. This isn't speculation. This is from the documents. Bormann's notebooks, Goebbels' diaries, Hess's private letters. And here is what they say. Let's start with the detail almost no one notices. In official documents, Stalin. Standard protocol, nothing unusual. But look at the private correspondence, the notes, the internal working drafts, things never meant for outside eyes. Everywhere, Jugoshvili. Think about that for a second. Writing Stalin in German takes 1 second. Jugoshvili is a whole workout. So why? Why so consistently? This was not an accident. It was a statement. Hitler refused to acknowledge the name Stalin had chosen for himself. Or, and this is far more interesting, he simply couldn't get that Georgian name out of his head. 1934. Hitler has just had his closest ally, Ernst Röhm, shot, along with hundreds of SA commanders. A purge. What's happening in Moscow at the exact same moment? Stalin convenes the Politburo, and according to Mikion's memoirs, he says, word for word, "Did you hear what happened in Germany? What a fine fellow Hitler is." That is exactly how political opponents should be dealt with. They were learning from each other, and Hitler knew it. When Stalin's Great Purge hit the Soviet military in 1937 through 38, marshals executed, generals shot, Hitler approved. He called it willpower. He called it strength. Then, in 1945, as Berlin burned around him, Hitler said bitterly, he should have dealt with his generals the way Stalin dealt with his, not wasted his purge on Rome. Who was copying whom? At this point, it's impossible to say. Rudolf Hess ran a special department inside his bureau. Their job, study European leaders, their psychology, their weaknesses, their families. When they got to Stalin, they couldn't agree. One faction argued Russia under Stalin had become an Oriental despotism, shaped entirely by his personality. The other said Stalin was a pure internationalist, beyond any national identity. And Hitler himself? In 1939, after watching some Soviet newsreel, Martin Bormann noted in his private journal, the Führer remarked that the Soviet dictator reminded him of a powerful beast of the Asian breed. He expressed regret that this breed was so poorly understood. Hitler didn't understand Stalin, and that, for Hitler, was rare. He prided himself on reading people. But Stalin remained opaque, unpredictable. An Asian, he thought, someone whose logic simply didn't compute. August 39. Negotiations in Moscow, the USSR, Britain, and France. Hitler is in a panic. A Soviet alliance with the West would be his death sentence. He tries to send Hess to Moscow, then the head of the German Labor Front, Ley. On August 21st, a message arrives. Stalin will receive Ley. But that same day, Hitler writes to Stalin directly. The telegram is drafted by Hess. The tone is almost desperate. The tension between Germany and Poland has become unbearable. A crisis may erupt at any day. I would be glad to receive your early reply. Adolf Hitler. Long pause, quiet music. August 22nd, no reply. Eyewitnesses describe Hitler in those hours, pacing the room, unable to eat, unable to sit still. Hitler was afraid Stalin would humiliate him, that he would simply say no. The man before whom Europe cowered was trembling before the silence of the Kremlin. Berlin is on fire. Soviet forces are 500 meters from the bunker. Goebbels, March 4, 1945, writes in his diary, In recent days, the Führer has felt an even greater closeness to Stalin, rating him as a man of genius deserving of unconditional respect. Comparing himself with Stalin, the Führer repeatedly stated that the greatness and iron resolve common to them both knew none of the wavering or compromise characteristic of bourgeois politicians. He had planned, after victory, to leave Stalin in charge of a conquered Russia, as a vassal, a manager of the enslaved, under German supremacy, of course. Only the other man won. The last word belongs to Rudolf Hess, written from Spandau prison years later. The Führer was the only one who truly sensed the demonic power of the Eastern despot at the time, a power all of us underestimated, and in the end, he was proven right. Two men who never met face to face, yet spent years studying, fearing, and admiring each other. Both built cults of personality. Both purged their own ranks. Both were convinced they were history's chosen. The difference comes down to one thing. One of them survived and outlived the other by 8 years. If this video got under your skin, subscribe. Next episode, even more classified documents, even more of the history they don't like to show you.